bonus stage. Sex and a movie. Player 1, Tweed. Player 2, Daryl. Player 3, Drew. Begin.
You ever seen, what are those movies? It's by the same director as Boyhood, but they're about sex in high school.
I don't know.
Fucking, is it Clueless? Clueless. No, Dazed and Confused, that's it. I don't know why I thought Clueless. Dazed and Confused. You ever seen Dazed and Confused?
No, I have not.
You ever seen Everybody Wants Some?
No, I have not. I've seen Clueless.
It's not about sex in high school, I don't think. Is it?
Kinda.
Okay.
It's not about it, but like it's kind of about it.
Does it happen?
Not
Is it
on screen.
uncensored? Okay, dang it. I suppose that, like, okay,
It's like
question.
the beginning of like the stepbrother fantasy.
What the fuck is that?
Like Clueless?
What the hell is even that? The beginning of the stepbrother. To be clear, I've never seen Clueless. Is it about near incest shit?
It's okay, so it's not about the stepbrother and stepsister getting together.
Dude, one of my friends says it's their favorite film of all time, and I'm judging them hardcore right now.
Yeah, it was like 20 years before its time, but
20 years before, incest didn't really get popular until about 20 years later. What the fuck are you on about?
I know you don't watch porn anymore because that's your
if they're
choice.
step siblings, it's okay.
I do not. Go on.
Yeah, you don't watch it much anymore, but that is one of the most prolific categories.
No, I know that. I just thought, like, I don't know.
I'm not
I
saying
wasn't
that,
taking
like,
a
people are
pornographic
actively
view.
doing it.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, are people, like, mentioning it in high school movies more, or pray tell, doing it more now that Clueless has come out? I was like, hi, my name's John Araby, and before the 1980s, I didn't really think about fucking my sister. But ever since I watched Clueless on VHS, I've been able to take that relationship to the next level. And now, I'm in a federal penitentiary. Because that is what's happening. The FBI is really good at smelling, like, if you're incest. You will get caught.
Smelling if you're
Yeah, if you're incest.
you wanted to get inside.
This is the worst podcast we've ever fucking done. Actually, no.
Is it though?
The Zoom call one was the one that we did the
Yeah.
worst on. The underwears they are a changing. That's the one I'm the least fond of by like a country mile.
I mean, quality-wise.
Yeah,
Well, we'll have to see how the phone works on this one.
that is true. It'll be funny if I have to cut out all parts with Luke. Just fuck you. It's a 30-minute episode.
Yeah, there's an intermission in the middle. Hope you like it.
I don't remember what I was going to ask you guys something, but then like the Clueless incest incident really skated it
Really?
fucking off. I remember what I was going to. No, I don't remember, but I remember what we were talking about beforehand. I was talking about like those weird films for the director of Boyhood, where it was like sex, but in high school, and they all star people in like that are 26 and stuff like that. It bothers me to shit that people do that for high school movies.
I mean, that makes sense only because they're probably not going to have 16-year-olds on screen talking about sex.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Is it illegal? I'm going to ask two questions here. Is it illegal to portray like a fully sex scene with humans that are above 18 years in age, but they're playing characters that are like less than 18 years old? Is that illegal? I don't know.
I don't.
It's legal, but it's in poor taste. Like you wouldn't really want to watch that.
I'll be honest. If the point wasn't pornographic, I would. I think it would be kind of interesting. One of the moments in movies that like made me go like, oh holy shit, the most was a really weird scene in, I think it's called Moonrise Kingdom.
Yeah, that's a movie.
The Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah.
I forget if it's Moonrise Kingdom. It's the one with the Camp Scouts.
Yeah, that's Moonrise Kingdom. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Have you seen it?
It's one of the only Wes Anderson movies I've seen.
Okay, so you know what I'm about to talk about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you seen it? No. Okay. So it's a really good Wes Anderson movie. First of all, just amazing movie overall. It's got like a very quirky, fun energy to it. You are a movie goer. I think you'd enjoy the style.
Okay.
Once you've seen one Wes Anderson movie, you can sort of fill out the beats. So like each time you watch a Wes Anderson movie, the magic will dissipate a bit. So I'd recommend starting with either The Grand Budapest Hotel or Moonrise Kingdom.
Okay. Please continue.
Thanks. Hey everybody, my name is Paul. Well, it's Tweed. You see that on the anyway. So in Moonrise Kingdom, there's an interesting scene where I think he's like 10, maybe 9.
They're young.
Yeah, he's like 9 and she's 11. There's a joke in there somewhere. A tasteful one at that. She's young, he's younger, basically. They're both relatively preteen, although she may be starting puberty or something like that. And they're like the protagonist, who's the male, is deciding to run away from his group, and she takes an interest in him, and they develop romantically, like a very shallow but not relationship. I'd say if one of the themes of Moonrise Kingdom is like, don't underestimate the feelings that kids have, because even though it's new to them, it doesn't mean it's any less valid. Right. That's something I took from the movie.
Okay.
And there's this one really interesting scene where they're like, we understand that we're on our own now and we need to be mature and we're adults now. And there's this really weird scene where they're like dancing on the beach, I think. And at one point, I think we brought this up on the podcast before because Luke said Wes Anderson and the photographer were the only two on set that day to make sure they were as respectful to the actors as possible. Because the actors themselves are like 9 and 11 in this scene. And the girl character, while dancing with him, is like, we're adults now, we need to be mature about this, we can understand where our relationship is going. And she does this in better terms than what I'm describing, but she essentially takes his hands and puts them on her breasts. And she's like, they're basically like, what do we even do from here? Like, do we just figure shit out or something like that?
Because they're like trying to be adults, basically.
Yeah. And it's one of the scenes in media that has impacted me the most because it's a sexual scene which is not sexy and it's not heartbreaking. And quite frankly, I can't remember a single scene in all of cinema history that was sexual and not sexy and not heartbreaking.
Yeah, like it wasn't violent or... Yeah.
They're always played for one of those two things. Mm-hmm. And I remember going like, this is really real. And like, I was almost taken back to, granted, it was a bit of a different situation, the time I lost my virginity at 14. And I remember feeling that same sort of like hesitance and cluelessness and stuff like that. And I remember... Like, I remember, a lot of people shout on Wes Anderson going, like, how could you do this to kids? But at the same time, I remember going, I want to say, like, weirdly, like, thank you, Wes Anderson, for, like, acknowledging that, like, kids will try to explore sexuality, and it won't be sexy, and they'll just sort of be like, well, and there's zero media portrayal of any of this. There's zero people talking about it, because they don't want to get in shit for portraying kids doing anything sexual.
It's super taboo, for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, when you were that young, do you remember, like, going to your parents or going to your health teacher or whatever and asking questions? No, you tried to figure it out.
Yeah. And I also remember, I can't remember what sex ed class this was. This may have been in high school. I remember one kid in one of my sex ed classes admitted that he fooled around with another kid when he was 7 because they were both curious and, like, both wanted to see what was happening. And nothing happened, obviously. Nothing, like, weird or anything like that. But they did fool around. And, like... He explicitly said, like, yeah, I think a lot of kids do that. And he was fucking suspended.
What?
He was suspended because he was implying that kids...
For talking about it or, like, for doing it?
Yeah, because he admitted that he did something sexual when he was a minor. He was normalizing it by saying, I think a lot of kids do it and stuff like that. The school had, like, a laundry list that was clearly passed down from the superintendent going, like, Yep, he said the sex thing, off to jail with you. Like, that sort of thing.
I wonder if that was like to try to protect themselves just in case somebody came after them.
Probably, yeah. You've been in thought and you've been trying to open your mouth for a couple of times now. Go ahead and speak your piece.
It's an interesting point. See, I love how when I start talking, you both immediately go on your phones. I've noticed this. You don't think I've been watching you guys?
Hey, Daryl, how's it going?
I heard it vibrate. I have a problem.
I think I heard his vibrate, and I'm waiting on somebody telling me, like, can you do this thing or can you not after I leave?
I am the old boomer in this situation. You damn kids,
put your
get
phone
off your
down.
damn phones.
Fine, whatever. Our phones are over the fuck there. I'm very sorry. I listen to people all the time when I'm on my phone. To be fair, I've checked my phone as often when talking to Drew.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I was just...
And the only reason I'm not doing it with Luke is because, like I'm trying to listen in on his fucking vocoder voice. I am very sorry for disrespecting you. Continue.
That's all right. So I think it's interesting, this idea of seeing kids in like a non-sexual way, or in this sort of like sexual thing in a non-sexual way, because again, like while we were earlier on, a few podcasts ago, we were talking about our school, how like our upbringing in schools. You know, the joke was like, oh, you guys were coddled or whatever, and I came from a school of hard knocks where I busted kids' heads into walls and stuff.
I remember that, yeah.
But
And I threw apples and was like, leave the country.
yeah, but I think this.
Did I ever tell you guys a story about how I sneezed once and got detention for it?
No.
During the national anthem?
Wow.
Anyway, go on with your thing.
should have
I'll say
held
that
it.
after it.
Yeah, I think more than anything, what's happened is that parents have become very worried about these things. You know, and it might be because of media betrayal. It might be because of
I'm saying
whatever
there's a
else.
lack of media portrayal. Wes Anderson's thing was the first instance outside of anything really skeevy that's meant to be sexualizing, so I guess that doesn't count.
Yeah,
like where I've
because
seen like kids, like actual kids, like going, "Do we want to do something sexual?" Because I remember, like when I was young, I accidentally stumbled upon this like really weird erotica site, and I didn't know what like sex was back then. This was like in grade 3 when I was like, you can search boobs and they come up. So I was like googling that like all the goddamn day
Yeah,
after
what a
school.
wild time that was. I remember that.
Yeah. And I found my way on this erotica site, and the first thing I thought was like, oh, kids my age do it too, and I guess it's okay to talk about it on the internet. And like the more I read about it, the more I was like, well, that's weird. And then I was just sort of like, it dawned on me slowly, oh, they're not supposed to talk about this, are they? And then I closed the fucking site down. Mm-hmm. And then the fucking FBI probably closed the site down.
That's right.
Because it was sexualizing. That's my point. Like, the Wes Anderson thing was the only time where it was like, yeah, kids did this. And it was weird and awkward, but they were trying to be adults, and they were trying to figure themselves out. And kids will do that.
But it wasn't like portrayed like, oh, look at this boy touching this boob and like, ooh.
Yeah, he's getting a boner, and later on he's gonna fuck her with his 15-inch 7-year-old kid dick. Yeah.
Right, and I think that's kind of an anomaly in when you're talking about this kind of portrayal in media.
Because most of it is either sexualizing or like
Or
horrifying.
traumatizing.
Yeah.
Right? So, like...
I hate that, how like sex is used so much to like show trauma in fucking movies and shit like that. It's like, God, fucking get better ideas.
Like if you want to give somebody like a dark backstory.
Yeah, and not to get too dark, but like as the 3-time survivor of sexual assault myself, like I point to characters and go, it doesn't fucking do that. Like even if it like does. Granted, it's not going to be a one size
same
fits
for
all.
everybody, yeah.
Same for everybody scenario. But it's like really clear when it's like the author was like, "What if I included rape?" And like and didn't research it at all and just went, "And now they're sad a lot." As opposed to like the specific things that happen when you get sexually assaulted. Anyway, I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. But anyways.
Most of the media portrayal is like traumatizing or sexualizing.
Right. So that's kind of where parents are sort of coming in with the helicopter parents or whatever you want to call them, right? You know, they see all this portrayal in the media. They're hyper vigilant or whatever you want to say. It's top of mind for them. Mm-hmm. So they want to make sure that they're.
Pretty sure hypervigilant is like a trauma response, but
I'm sorry I said that.
No, you don't have to be.
But,
I'm just correcting for the record for our viewers at home. They're like, I'm going to say hypervigilant to describe my dog.
Yeah, it is a term. That's
Good. That was a good. Yeah, that's a good observation.
But maybe they're extremely focused on this sort of thing, and their wrath goes down on superintendents and on the teachers and stuff. Because they don't, they haven't really taught anything new when it comes to this sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Even in Ontario, highly debatable topic, but in Ontario we had a change to the sex ed curriculum.
Didn't it get revoked, or is it actually implemented?
That got revoked.
Yeah, I remember that. And it was like, it was going to mention gay people for the first time, because the last sex ed curriculum, which I think Ontario is still using, is from 1990.
Yes, so it doesn't involve sexting, it doesn't involve anything having to do with internet or sharing pics or whatever, right?
And you know what's the worst thing about that? Kids aren't fucking dumb. I remember, I was like, oh man, you can look up boobies on the internet. How, do you think looking up boobies on the internet is going to be included in the 1990 sex ed curriculum?
Yeah, and that's grade 3, which is what, like 9 years old?
And this isn't just the standard played out argument of kids are going to do it anyway. This argument is much more fucking nuanced than that, in my opinion. This is kids are going to think they invented it and they can establish the rules themselves. If kids think they discovered sexting, they get to go like, well, I guess I'm not saying like teach your 6-year-old what 69ing is and how to do it correctly. Because, like, yeah. But at the same time, like, if you don't teach kids, sexting is something that you probably, statistically, are going to do in the future. Well, wait, yeah, 2 out of 3 of us in this room have done sexting before. Well, actually...
Wow, what a great sample size.
No, actually, just because you're in a committed relation... Have you ever sexted before? Is this too uncomfortable a topic to
I think
ask?
so.
No?
I
Okay.
mean, like, it depends on where you draw the line on what sexting is. I'm going to say no.
Yeah, if you say no, then it was probably just like romantic or cutesy or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Or even just like, I am ready for a regular 3-month intercourse. I don't know what your relationship's like.
Beep boop beep boop.
Yeah,
My
it's like-
alarm went off.
Yeah. Get off. Anyway, so yeah, kids are gonna think that they came up with the rules to this shit themselves. They're gonna accidentally sext little Johnny in like 7th to 8th grade and like go, wait, my phone can send pictures. And they're going to go like, I totally can, without like being told by classes, hey, these things can get around. And also, if you start sexting before you're 18, anybody caught distributing your pictures, including you for sending them in the first place, can be federally prosecuted.
Yeah.
And what's neat is that my high school, in 12th grade, there was a thing that I was not directly involved in. I did totally send nudes at this time in grade 12, but I remember I was friends with a grade 12 girl who was in the Popular area, and she was scared because her ex, this was an asshole move of her ex. So her ex of 3 years, right? She sent her first nudes to him when she was 15. They had a messy breakup. First thing the ex does, sends out the nudes that she sent when she was 15. Not the nudes she sent recently. He specifically chose those ones.
Oh, he didn't even send all of them.
No, he just
those
sent
ones.
the ones that when she was 15 because he knew that would give her the most anxiety.
Right.
And like, I'm going to assume, I never saw her nudes, that, especially the ones that were leaked, but I'm going to assume that her like camera got better when she got better phones when she was like 18. Her camera technique got better as time went on. So it was clear it wasn't like these are the hottest. It was like
Right.
these are the most scandalous and can get her in the most trouble.
Right. I'm
And-
assuming it had the opposite effect. I mean, obviously she was affected by it, but like,
No, I mean, my high school was decently progressive, but unfortunately, it was very clear that the girl was in more danger than the guy, even though the guy was the one to distribute the nudes because she took them in the first place. It's backwards logic, but I guarantee you, to this day, a lot of high schools do that, and
Fair.
a lot of it's just misogyny. They blame the women, and I remember like there was like a moment of like. She was fucking scared that she was going to get expelled and like prosecuted.
for something she did like 3 years ago, and then somebody else like
Yeah, and he was getting like fist bumps and shit like that from his friends. Like, oh, dude, yeah, you can picture that, Daryl. Yeah.
The thing about that is I don't really care what the friends think. Like if the friends want to give him fist bumps,
I
like
care
they
what society
shouldn't. They
thinks.
shouldn't. But like if they're the ones that are cheering him on and everybody else is hating on him, that's fine.
I don't-
But
I don't-
because everybody else wasn't hating on him,
I think everyone was just like, this isn't my business either way. And the school actually like brought her in and was like, here's how we're gonna do this. And like she was deathly afraid. But they basically said, we understand that this is the next best thing they probably had to like a sex ed system. They basically went, look, this is a reality of high school. We can't say this on the record, but this is a reality of high school. If this breaks out and becomes a big enough news story, we are going to have to take drastic action and you are going to have to be punished. We don't want that to happen. You don't want that to happen. So the best thing we can do is shut the fuck up about it until like it blows over. If it breaks a certain threshold and like parents are notified and shit like that, sorry, we're going to have to get involved. Otherwise, like the law is going to come down on our asses. But until then, this is basically a don't ask, don't tell system. We're really sorry this happened to you.
that's wild.
Yeah. It makes sense, but it's incredibly unjust morally.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense in the event that she would get in trouble if it got big.
Yeah.
And I mean like there's a certain amount of even if you're not in trouble, you're still like exposed in a weird way. More people are gonna see the nudes in a weird way.
Yeah. And like the law is laid down. Like she took nudes when she was 15, and like I hate the argument of like you knew what you were doing because like everybody fucking
That's the
does
whole
it.
point of it being when you're like the whole point of a minimum age is that you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. That's actually a very good point.
That's the reason that law
Whoa,
exists.
that's like such a debunker.
That's the reason it's there.
Yeah, because they're too immature to know what they're doing. Oh my god, you just like solved misogyny
Yeah, good luck getting that anywhere.
in a high school environment.
Yeah, or like
Yeah, the
in
next
anywhere
best
with
thing I can do
authority.
is like become a fucking superintendent and like go up to the microphone one day and go, all right, everyone, thanks for coming to this assembly. If you send nudes, you're young. We understand you don't know what you're doing. Have at it. Adjourned.
I feel like that's not going to go over well.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna go over too well. So I can't do that.
On your first day.
I can't encourage minors to send nudes and fuck. And really, it's not my place to do it.
I don't think you should encourage it, but that doesn't mean you should, like, shame it. Like, you don't have to take one side or the other.
I mean, I think there's a decent, okay extent of shaming where it's like, hey, like you said, the
You
age
should
of
caution.
the age of consent exists for a reason, and also we're not just worried about you making a stupid decision. We're worried about you falling for someone who's going to make a stupid decision and like try to ruin your life, or even just like not know what they're doing and make you very uncomfortable and not get that no means no or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I want to protect people from, like, I don't know. If one person's 15 and the other person's 18, I'm not going to be like, the 15-year-old doesn't know what they're doing, fucking, like, shame on you, 15-year-old, for going for an 18-year-old. Even though it's, like, kind of weird. Like, when I was in my grade 10 history class, there was a girl from my class, should not name her. She was in a relationship with a 23-year-old. That was weird.
I mean, like, that's pretty wild. Grade 9s and grade 12s going out is pretty common.
yeah,
so,
that
as
was
weird as
taboo.
it is.
That was taboo at my school.
Oh, it's always taboo, but it is common.
I mean, I'll be the first to admit it. I had a crush on a grade 9 when I was in grade 12. It didn't go anywhere, but, like, I think it was also a mutual crush, because we were uncharacteristically scared shitless near each other. And I remember, like, we were in the same fucking, like, extracurricular club that, like, showed off our writing. And when we met, like, outside of the club to, like, exchange stories and stuff like that, we would be in, like, a hallway, and we'd sit on other ends of the hallway, because we were like, I
Just
can't
to make
sit-
sure nothing happens.
Yeah, it's like the weird, like, I can't let them think I'm gay version of, like, I can't let them think I have a crush on them, where it's like, I gotta sit as far away from them as possible. Like, I'll yell across the hallway, hey, that was a good story! You know, like, that sort of thing.
Comparing notes in a hot tub.
Yeah, and that's, like, another reason why I want... This is going to sound terrible out of context. I want non-sexy sexuality of people under 18 to be more commonplace in media portrayal. Specifically, I think, honestly, if there is more media portrayal of that, it'll also undermine the sexy stuff, because it'll be like, this is fiction, and also, like, really weird 16 candles. Moonrise Kingdom is what actually happens when people under 18
Right.
attempt to fuck without a user's manual.
Not like some slasher flick where they're, like, you know, going at it in the back of a cabin and then the
Yeah.
fucking...
Oh, Johnny, you broke my hymen for the 17th time today. Yeah, exactly.
But does it have to be kids? Can you just have non-sexual kind of awkward
I feel like you would
sex
start
scenes
there, yeah.
anywhere?
I feel like that kind of more portrayal is understandably more common and stuff like that. Like, I've seen films like Short Bus and stuff like that, and to a slight extent, Nymphomaniac, even though that movie, both parts of it were shit, in my opinion. I don't like Lars von Trier. The only movie I've liked by him is Antichrist. God, I wish Luke was here.
Yeah. Not talking to a movie buff and me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, anyway, I feel like that's, like, more commonplace, where it's like sex can be awkward and stuff like that. I feel like soap operas kind of ham it up, where, like, the awkwardness is what makes it traumatizing somehow. You know what I mean? Like, I tried to have the bang with him, but he couldn't get it up. Like, that sort of thing.
But even then, the awkwardness always happens after. Like,
Yeah.
it's implied awkwardness during, but, like, seeing the awkwardness, I guess, is different.
Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump's another good example. They're adults. It's still got its own, like, taboo nature, because he's, like, what Daryl would refer to as a little slow.
Yeah, that's right. A little slow.
So, like, yeah. I think that, like, that has, like, its own nuance, sort of.
It's less about exploring it, though.
I will say this. I'm so sick and tired of so many mainstream movies glorifying cheating. It pisses me off. Like, since the 50s, it's always like, what would my husband think? Oh, but I need it. And then she, like, hops on his dick and rides it, like, at the speed of sound. In that scene, she, like, levitates, like, brrr. It's like a weird drill attachment.
She's a hummingbird. She is going so fast that you can't even see her going up and down.
Yeah.
She's just floating.
You
Use
just
the
hear her
wires.
going like, my husband!
There's the wires they have in, like, Peter Pan and stuff for the flying effects.
Yeah.
I've kind of given up on rebelling
Cheating?
against
They're good. That's a good.
on
Giving
rebelling
up on
against that
cheating. I'm a
in-
one pony man.
I only fuck one pony. My name's Drew Hobden.
one horse town.
In a one horse town, of course you're only gonna fuck one horse. Anyway, go on.
Everybody gets a ride.
Everybody has in one. It's a one-horse town.
One horse, one
Oh, I
dude.
guess we don't establish that there's one human. I was picturing one human, one horse. Like every single person gets to. It's like
It's still true.
It's like if I address you two and go like, I'm gonna say this to each and every one of you, all two of you. Anyway, go on.
I lost my fucking train. Oh, I've given up on
Cheating.
rebelling against cheating in media portrayal because it's so prolific. Like, I know, I get why you're tired of it, but it's kind of like they're gonna do what they're gonna do.
And you know why I'm tired of it? Because, like, in my opinion, this is the one where there should be a binary. There should be a binary into the nuance of it, like Bridges of Madison County, or it should direct. What?
I don't know that.
Yeah, why are you referencing all these movies, man? We don't watch
He's
movies.
got a list of movies that he's watching. Like, he's.
Yeah. I've watched a lot of movies in the past, like, 2 years. Honestly, okay.
And apparently has a good memory for them, too. 'Cause
Putting a pin in that. Yeah, it's either got to be nuanced like Bridges of Madison County, where like the whole plot is basically it's really interesting. Meryl Streep, Clint Eastwood, I think, and basically Meryl Streep is like a housewife who's like fully dedicated, and she meets Clint Eastwood while he's like he's a photographer on a mission just to capture photos of the bridges of Madison County, and her husband is away on one of his like 12-week-long journeys or whatever the fuck for work, and she isn't going into it with a mindset of I'm going to cheat, but they reach such a like fast and powerful connection that she's like, what the fuck? I'm a good person and I never get the feeling to cheat. And he's like, yeah, I feel this too. I don't know what to do, but like I have such strong feelings for you. And it actually is pretty nuanced with like the level of like what is morality of cheating, what is cheating in the first place, like that sort of thing. And it's a really interesting movie. It's like basically the best chick flick ever because it doesn't feel like a chick flick.
Fair.
Because like chick flicks are like, in my opinion, some of the worst for like I cheated, but it's okay because he was a dick to my opinion, or like I cheated, but it's okay because I got like a weird comeuppance related to my job somehow unrelated to this.
What's the movie that Julia showed me? I don't remember.
Love Actually.
But like, it wasn't Love Actually. There's so many.
There's only two chick flicks: Love Actually and Bridge to Terabithia.
that well-known chick flick.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just it's a trope to have like the current husband be an asshole.
Yeah.
And then the either ex from the past or whatever be a good guy.
Yeah, usually it's weird because like current partners aren't seen as like a stepping stone. Like, I was with this asshole, but at the end of the movie, I'm with Owen Wilson.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, wow, what an upgrade.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, that one is a good one that I did.
that was pretty good. Yeah.
Thank you. Anyway, so yeah, it's either like Bridges of Madison County, where it's like nuanced and shit like that, or it's like one of those chick flicks where like it's specifically to show like either this person's an asshole for cheating and they're like the side character, or even just like, as I said, I got a comeuppance related to something at my job, and I think it's because I cheated on my boyfriend. Like, it's either like really poignant or really stupid, and there's never like a middle ground of like, let's examine this, or let's just, I cheated on you, let's break up. I don't trust you anymore. And
Yeah.
like, that's a fact of life. It never feels like a fact of life. It's either hammed up way too much. Again, Bridges of Madison County, great movie. That's very much an outlier.
I wonder if that's because cheating is something that almost everybody can relate to, either because they've been cheated on or because they have a fear of being cheated on, or they've cheated on somebody else. So it's a good topic to talk about because everybody can relate to it, but they don't want to push anybody on it because everybody's very sensitive about it. So they sort of not make it nuanced like you want it to be because people don't want to confront it.
All I know is that cheating isn't portrayed realistically, and I'm less bothered by that when it's like hyper reality, if you will, where it's like taking what's real and extending it to ridiculous proportions, where they like make such a ridiculous scenario like in Bridges of Madison County, but they don't play it for laughs. It's ridiculous in that like the scope of it's so monumental.
Right,
and
it happens so fast.
Yeah. And the theme of the movie is basically this is like the type of person you only meet once in your life, and if you got in a relationship with this person, you'd hate it after like a couple of months. But like there are two types of that's essentially the theme of the movie. There's two types of love: the love that burns out slowly, and the love that lasts like a day, where it feels more intense than anything you've ever felt in your life. And I think that's very human, and I think that's super, super neat. And again, that's why it talks about like what is cheating, what is love, and I find that really cool.
Baby, don't hurt me.
Nice.
Don't hurt me.
No more. Anyway, I'm gonna veer off of that and just say, for the record, I think it's your cat's clawing at your things.
Yeah, there's a bunch of holes in there.
Yeah, I know. Speaking of a bunch of holes, no, never mind. I'm not going to talk about sex again. I think it's actually good in COVID to like watch a bunch of new movies or new TV shows or new albums to make up for the lack of like. I miss meeting new people. That's like one of the things that keeps me going as a person. And like, along with a lot of people, I'd like to say in COVID, I'm like going stir crazy at this point. Like, I want to meet new people. I want to have extended conversations with the people that I know. I want to be able to have sex. I will be fucking honest, because like, it's not that abstinence itself is what's like making me go like touch starved and stuff like that. It's being robbed of the option. You know what I mean? You don't get to even think about having sex in the first place.
It would be like wrong if you tried to, because you're like exposing yourself.
Yeah.
Exposing.
Yeah. Is this what incels go through? Are we incels now, Daryl?
Technically.
No, I'm not an involuntarily celibate person.
You haven't had sex in the last 2 weeks?
No,
Is that the cutoff?
I don't. What's the cutoff then?
2
What
weeks is a very short time.
What's the definition of an incel? Is it a year? Why a year?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I had it at the beginning.
2 weeks just feels wrong. I don't know about.
I had it at the beginning of January, which, you know, in today's day is not that long ago.
It wasn't that long ago. That was when like a lockdown was still in your region, like a heavy lockdown. You piece of shit.
No.
Yes, actually, it was since Christmas.
It was the stay-at-home orders that started in whatever.
It started on the 26th.
Second week of January.
No, it didn't. It started on the 26th.
Is that true?
In your region, yes.
Did it?
Is redacted in the GTA?
Yeah, but that's the lockdown. Oh. That's the lockdown for like stores and stuff, like the gray zone.
The stay-at-home order began on the 26th.
No, stay-at-home order started.
You are
after
trying to
Christmas.
weasel your way out of
It
this.
started after Christmas, and
Yes.
I haven't done it since.
Yeah. It was Christmas Day that I had sex.
It wasn't the beginning of January.
Last time I did it was I think around like late November. So like not too dissimilar to yours, but like long enough that it's like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like meeting new people, forget about sex, whatever. Human beings can live without sex for a bit. I think surviving for this long without meeting new people is kind of unhealthy, truth be told.
Yeah.
Like even just at the store or something like that.
Yeah,
can
I
see
started 2 new jobs since like COVID, so
Yeah, in a weird way, I messaged Luke and was like, I'm kind of jealous that you have a job, like an employment under someone else and not
yeah,
freelance.
you have
working at
to
home.
see people.
Yeah, and he was like, that's kind of fucked up to say, dude. And I was like, yeah, that's true, but hear me out. And he was like, okay, fine.
I get that. Yeah,
It is harder to have that connection with people.
Yeah.
Even if it's people you know, it's people that you don't know. You know, even meeting new people online is still a removed experience than it used to be.
It doesn't help that the last sex I had was a mediocre experience.
Oh, that's not true for me.
Kudos. Anybody I know?
No.
No? Can I? Your third threesome. Heyo.
Hey,
Don't worry, I don't have to touch your balls with my balls. Therefore, it isn't a homosexual act.
is that you can kiss, but don't touch balls.
Have you ever heard about that? Balls can't touch, otherwise that's gay. That's such a like schoolyard thing.
I don't care if my balls touch other balls.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I feel like I
'Cause
might
it's not
care,
the
but it
balls.
depends on the
Basketballs?
context.
Yes. I was gonna say peach balls. Why did I think that?
Oh, that's like from the ice cream shop, yeah?
Peach balls?
Yeah. They have like peach guts in the thing, and then they just like take a scoop thing and then like it into a ball and put it in your ice cream cone.
Like
That's
Dippin'
awesome.
Dots.
Yeah.
Where do you go for ice cream? That's so cool.
No anymore. It closed down due to COVID. It was like Marble Slab or something like that. It's a chain.
But that's not the same.
It's a peach ball. What do you mean it's not the same? The same as what? You've never had one before.
I don't know. I want the real thing. I don't want like preserves. I want somebody who had like, you know, hot peaches. They're like, we're gonna serve some
I don't
hot
want
peaches today.
anybody going near my food.
Why are the peaches hot? Like even if
Because
they're
it's
fresh picked.
cold ice cream, hot peaches. Are we not on the same page?
I'm
here?
with Daryl on this one. Yeah.
But like, how are you heating it up? Because like, I'm worried about the have you ever had peaches when they're like warmed up? The consistency gets weird.
Have you ever had
Yeah.
have you ever put peaches in a frying pan with some cinnamon? It's very good.
Yeah, but the consistency gets weird. A ball of that in ice cream? I don't know. I'm not convinced.
Have you ever had peach pie?
Also, that's fried, so it would be different.
Peach cobbler?
I fucking love peach pie. It's like my favorite pie.
Yeah, because the peaches change. The peaches change
He's
consistency.
doing like a boob grab motion with his free hand.
No,
the other hand's
it's
jerking his
ball.
ween.
It's balls.
It's peach balls.
Peach balls.